And we gave issue to our own army, the first original army in the Anglo-Saxon world, which does not owe to colonial generals, is ours. That's why army edu, recruit from every person's house here. Mese muripana. Mukaenda kumusha kwenyu mukabvunzwa kunzi panonzi mai ningi nababa ningi moti ningi wacho ari kupi mudzimba dzenyu mafamilies menyu. So the army comes from every family in Zimbabwe. It's an original army. Nobody owns it. This one. Never know Zimbabwe. This is in contrast to other armies which you find in Africa which were inherited, where a general who recruited Munu, Anoti Chayaku, Ariku Portugal, Ariku France or in England, and somebody salutes that person here. And when a state house will remove a president. Ours cannot do that because it's original. It's an original army. Because it comes from the people. And that is what the journalistic world has never been made to appreciate. The fear of the West of an original army, in African, homegrown by $80,000 to $100,000 thousands of souls sacrificed all over Zimbabwe to create that army. That is where we come from as war veterans. That's why our cohesiveness, our organizational experience is unparalleled. And when you are trying to challenge the concept of our people forming an army from scratch, and you think you have a different idea, about that army, we simply go back to the people. So that it suits Western standards. I can assure you the battle will always be won by us. We will always win that battle. Because we know how to organize people. We know how to make people who are indigent. Before 1970s, who they are. We are the most organized African country. Try kwenda kuruzeva. Yenas osquerako. Vanhu vasikazivi kuti ndiwani vakatadza kuti unoda kuroora ningi kana unoda kunoroorwa naningi unoswera ripotwa kuCIO kunzi kuno kune munhu watisingazive kuno kwangoya kuno. In other African countries you would spend 10 years uchigara munyika imomo vanhu vasingamboziva kuti wabva kupi. Muno muZimbabwe everyone wants to know, and that structure comes from the war veterans. That's why when we respond to any issue we know how to respond. Varungu vangada kudzoka in 2002 vachisenzesa MDC. They brought back their machinery. We didn't attack the MDC because of the political opposition aspect of it. We attacked. Remember in 2018, everything went well. Then trouble causers came after the vote. Comrade President, we are pledging to you our support for the 2018 elections. That election you shall win on a magnitude bigger than the one which we did in 1980. We are going to work hard with our chiefs. We are going to work hard with our illustrious ZDF, the best army in the world.
Just 2 days after the nation went peacefully to vote, there is bloodshed and chaos.
Something which was planned well beforehand and it had to happen. So what was left was just maybe it happening or maybe justification per se. And soldiers were pursuing, following them with shambox, beating up people. Some, because there's a lady I saw was also severely trashed using a shampoo by a soldier. She was wanting handbags and paper bags. Maybe she was coming from shopping somewhere in the CBD.
I wanted to ask if you had any information from these investigations that the demonstrators were armed with any firearms themselves.
Well, I don't think there was any hard evidence, but there is a belief amongst our intelligence operatives and indeed within the job system that members of the vanguard have got some weapons. That belief is there, and I'm sure we'll get to know about it. It's not going to be long for some of and then we can prove this point.
That's just what I was trying to reconcile, because if there was that kind of information available, why give the order to your...
Yes, sir.
Where do you get your information?
VP, Vice President, sir. Pane ma live videos, pane BBC Al Jazeera yanga iripo Harare nezuro. Ma journalists akarowa.
Now listen.
Yes, sir.
No, if ukadapi jurisdiction kashamwa. Ajis wanani. Only can order sequence of events. What did the defense force end up after 3 people had been killed by this hurricane?
Vachiwenga pane masoja akafilma vachiridza futi.
Some of the women have now left the country, have been shipped to the United Kingdom. The few who are still in the country, they are being moved from house to house, and we are trying to track them down. It's all stage managed. And the killings? We are challenging anybody.
Peace after elections. Those elements in this country who are planning to create violence, I warn them. We will not tolerate any mischief. We will not tolerate all those who are bent in causing violence in our peaceful country. If they are being given money by whatever authority, nation or country or organization, ilamara wakanyarara, ipukute wakanyarara, ukangoti bufu, todhira newe, tokuvarira. We want peace in the country. All those who are promoting peace, the law will take its course against those who promote violence among us. We are a humble, peace-loving people of Zimbabwe. This is our signature, peace. God loves those nations which promote peace, and one of such countries is Zimbabwe. Up to now, many countries in the world have been writing there will be violence during these elections. Kushuka kwataita pano varobana vangani? Hapana. Takawanda over 100,000 here. But we respect each other. We are peaceful. Those vatinofana kuchengetedza nguva dzese. Hapana nyika inovakwa nevanhu vanorwa kana vanhu vanovengana kana vanotukana. Vaitofamba vachiti ivo mangwana muite mhirizhonga anenge asungwa munoenda pakati pane mano yakagara akamirira kuti achifende. Vanenge vakuvara munoenda pakati pane vakagara madhokota achakurapai kuvadzisa vana vevanhu saizvozvo. Zvose izvo zvotakupevera madhokota iwavo akanga ari munyaya dzacho dzemhirizhonga dzikwatevera. Magweta iwavo akanga achiti mhirizhonga ngaende mberi chigokudzipendai dzikwatevera. Saka uyo anenge asarudza umhirizhonga, anenge asarudza umhezvamukono, aiwa takakwana tosangana naye. Anenge asarudza runyararo norugare, haleluya kwaari, rugare namazuva ake ngawedzerwe munyika inotongwa navatema. Asi avasarudza mhirizhonga mazuva avanowinyana. Pamberi neZANU-PF, pamberi neZANU-PF, pamberi nokubatana, pamberi nokubatana.
The rest, the nearest church, and the report the abuse you underwent, we have only one single case that has come up in Chitungwiza. The rest, we now know that the women who were paraded was just make up by some organizations. And some of the women have now left the country, have been shipped to the United Kingdom. The few who are still in the country, they are being moved from house to house, and we are trying to track them down. It's all stage managed.
And the killings?
We are challenging anybody, local or foreign, to produce the women so that the world can see them and say, this is what happened. We would want to see those. And with regard to that...
Yes, sir.
Where do you get your information?
VP, Vice President, sir. Pane ma live videos. Pane BBC Al Jazeera yanga iripo Harare nezuro. Ma journalists akarowa.
Now listen.
Yes, sir.
No, if ukadapi jurisdiction kashamwari. Atis wanani. Only can order sequence of events. What did the defense force end up? After 3 people had been killed by this hurricane. Hakuna msoja kaure.
Vachiwenga pane masoja akafiuma vachiridza pfuti.
Some of the women have now left the country, have been shipped to the United Kingdom. The few who are still in the country, they are being moved from house to house, and we are trying to track them down. It's all stage managed.
And the
we
killings?
are challenging anybody.
That I think the problem with the corruption reports that have been coming out is that the opposition itself has failed to articulate the issues to the citizens. When I say the citizens, I'm not talking about those on Twitter space. I'm talking about the ordinary citizens. So if you go to the townships, if I was in the opposition, if you go to the townships, you need to break down these issues and explain what they mean, specifically to individuals who don't read these reports, but who want to understand why they do not have medication in hospitals, who want to understand why their kids don't have jobs, who want to understand how they've been robbed of their pensions 2 or 3 times. Because this particular type of looting public funds is directly linked to the misery that the Zimbabwean citizen is facing today. So I've always encouraged the opposition that, you need to explain to people how much it costs to run a particular hospital that they use that has no medication, and explain to them how much it costs to put medication in that hospital, and then come at the tail end and explain to them how much has been stolen, how it has been stolen. The opposition has failed to do this. And some have suggested that even civil society sometimes has failed to do this. You see, we live in such a corrupt society, such that people start speculating why certain people are not saying certain things at a particular time, yet those things give clarity to the cause that they are fighting for. Other people start speculating that perhaps there are people who take kickbacks, because corruption is not exclusively a ZANU-PF affair in Zimbabwe. I've always explained that corruption is now a Zimbabwean issue. So you find that somebody who works in a factory can organize to steal things from that factory, and that will be seen as okay at that level. So, and you look at people talking about ZANU-PF and why they want to join ZANU-PF, they will tell you that they are driven by easy access to resources, easy access to cash, easy access to things that are looted from the ordinary citizen. So, for instance, things like mining claims, they will tell you that if I join ZANU-PF, I'll get mining claims. So ZANU-PF is commercialized corruption in such a way that if you join us, we eat together.
But that's the sacrifice that the opposition has gone through here. Judging by what we see across the world, Chamisa seems to have led a political party in one of the most difficult dictatorships of the world that's only comparable to Russia and Belarus. I want to say that the opposition I don't know if people ever seen here that in Zimbabwe, there have been two coups. There was one in 2017, the removal of Robert Mugabe. And then there was one on the 1st of August 2018, when publicly Emerson Mnangagwa's office announced that they were going to use soldiers to literally change election results. There was another corruption that happened a few months after that. That was in January 2019, when Emerson Mnangagwa, whose company, Sakunda, Tagwire's company, it was supplying fuel to the country, changed the prices, leading to a demonstration in which he himself, as an interested party at a business level, changed the figures, and then he unleashed terrorists, soldiers, whether they were real soldiers or fake, I believe they were both, onto the people. 17 people were killed, 50 women were raped. That period was another horror that the opposition and the civil society had to go through, of extreme corruption, which I think should be the basis of focus, or maybe the foundation, before we criticize Nelson Chamisa's leadership or the civil society at large for failing to expose corruption here. They actually did. And I also think that it's unfair to, we had doctors here in 2019, and there's a tweet. I just wanted to alert here the convener, where the last speaker, the second from last speaker here, Hope Ochingono, even confirmed that he suggested to Constantino Chiwenga, the man that I was exposing for offloading terrorists onto the people, suggested that he should go and meet the very doctors who were treating the tortured activists, in what civil society, to the other end, actually accuses to this day Hope Ochingono for data protection breach here, and also literally
I think,
betraying
Simba,
the civil society. But I want to
your
come back
desire
here.
to follow everywhere
I
I
want
go
to come
and use your personal attacks on me on something that's
back.
so
Why
important
do you
is
say I've gone
deplorable.
anywhere?
You've been
Your
doing
tweet
this
is
for a
public,
year, and
Oppo.
it's very
Your tweet is
embarrassing.
public.
You
Oppo,
come
they are
and
women.
lie about things that you can't
Oppo, they
provide.
are women. They are.
Sorry, I'm going to have to mute.
I apologize, convener. I really apologize. I just wanted to say that, convener, just as I end, there are women who are still in hiding today, 4 years later, as a result of the shutting.
Okay. Thank you. Hopewell, I know you would like to respond to that. I'll give you space to respond to that, but we've had some other requests to speak as well. Tinashe, I can hear you're unmuted. Would you like to come in?
Yeah. I just wanted to contribute on what Simba was saying. There are a lot of young people who look up to people like Hopewell. So I've noticed that in his recent tweets, he's been maybe attacking the opposition for not being consistent, for not attacking corruption, for not having a tangible plan. But what has been happening is that the opposition has been attacked by the government a lot. It has been attacked by every facet of the government, but not been given any media attention, by not even having to be given the platforms to openly campaign and such. So now, if you have people who portray themselves as now standing up for the struggle, for now standing up for fighting against corruption. Now, instead of fighting against the corruption, they are fighting the people who we are looking up to help us in changing this regime, in changing this government. And now, when you come and attack that, you know that you are a person who's respected by by people, and people look up to you. So now, the moment that you discredit the opposition that we are seeing as the agents of changes to us, it now gives us a platform where we are now wondering if we are still together in this, or if maybe some people are now being used by the government sway us from what we are supposed to be concentrating on. Because I think right now we are at a space where everyone is supposed to be united. If we are going to fight for democracy, if we are going to fight for change, we need to be united on all fronts. So I now wonder why the attack is just coming at such a point where we need everyone to be hands-on, to encourage each other to go on this plight for regime change. And now people start attacking the opposition and seeing it in shambles. I think there's been some sort of an agenda to discredit the opposition. Yeah, that's what I think.
Thank you, Tinashe, bringing in a very valuable point. It is an election year, it's election season. Things are getting way more heated, and you will see people playing many roles, some of them very duplicitous. So one of the things that I think we would always like to highlight is that truth, facts is really important, evidence-based information. And let's stick to the facts, guys. Let's not let our emotions be swayed by very deliberate attempts at misinformation and misguiding the electorate. And that's something that is very prevalent here on social media. So I think we should be keeping an eye out for that, as Tinashe is saying, that it seems that there are coordinated attempts for people to be silenced. We still have a lot of requests, but I am not going to accept any more requests, unfortunately.
Peace after elections. Those elements in this country who are planning to create violence, I warn them, who will not tolerate any mischief, who will not tolerate all those who are bent in causing violence in our peaceful country. If they are being given money by whatever authority, nation or country or organization, ilamara wakanyarara, ipukute wakanyarara.
chichaurikuparidzawo ijournalism here vanhu tichidedhism chauri kuita akakuti dedhi wakutozvonanga uri baba venyika yese iwe ungatadze handiti hauone mara letriple C because hauide triple C yacho uri kuda kuiparadza kana saka rungoona ezanu ni ndosaka pepe wakanotengesa information kune vanhu vezanu kuti safe house kunga kuine vanhu
it's all stage managed and we are challenging anybody
chibvire kumhepo ungatadza kuona mara letriple C akazara masisi ukasabloka netriple C unoona mara letriple C make use of your YouTube uone zvikuitwa kutriple C chibvire kumhepoko iwe wega ndiwe journalist unogara wakangosungwa wega majournalist mangani dzaedza unonyora usi unenge wadzitsvaga futi tibvire kumhepo tetakanyarara zvonoda tange takapusa sadada kutonange takadzungaira nosese chidetipidze ngoti baba munhu wese akutozvonange ndiye baba wenyika yese nonsense.
But I am not going to accept any more requests, unfortunately.
Peace after elections. Those elements in this country who are planning to create violence, I warn them, who will not tolerate any mischief, who will not tolerate all those who are bent in causing violence in our peaceful country. If they are being given money by whatever authority, nation or country or organization, ilamara wakanyarara, ipukute wakanyarara.